Everyone in San Diego who suffers an accidental or non-natural death is brought to the county medical examiner's office in Kearny Mesa. Each body spends some time in cold storage before it's wheeled into another room for an autopsy. Deputy Medical Examiner Jonathan Lucas makes his living figuring out the causes of a person's death. He says recently, more and more San Diegans have been killed by an overdose of prescription drugs.
The biggest issue within the prescription drug problem are really the narcotics, the opiates, the pain medications, the morphine derivatives, the opiate derivatives.
In San Diego County last year, 5 widely prescribed drugs, methadone, oxycodone, Valium, hydrocodone, and morphine, killed 222 people. That's more than died by alcohol and heroin combined.
Most of the deaths that we see are people in the age range of about 40 to about 60. And these are the people that generally have problems like chronic pain. And they have a legitimate reason to have these medications, but they may mix or borrow or overtake their medications more than prescribed.
In another part of the medical examiner's building, all of the medications seized at death scenes are stored. Chief Medical Examiner Glenn Wagner says he's noticed a big rise in the quantity of different drugs people are taking.
This shopping bag represents one individual and the number of drugs that that person had on board. There are 19 separate lines on this one, and it goes for several pages.
Special Agent Tom Lennox keeps a watchful eye on prescription drugs in San Diego. He says people don't seem to have trouble getting narcotics.
The prescriptions are being written, they're getting out into the community, so they could be getting them from their own home, they could be getting them from friends' homes, where they're going in and stealing them from their friends' homes.
Lennox says in 2008, one of the most popular drugs on the street was the painkiller OxyContin in 80-milligram pills. Lennox decided to track how many of these pills were being distributed to San Diego pharmacies.
We found that there was approximately 675,000 in 2007. When I looked at 2008, it jumped to almost 1.1 million, almost an additional 500,000 pills.
Clearly, a lot of these drugs are being prescribed. They're also being sold illegally on the street. And law enforcement officials say there's been a big increase in burglaries and robberies at local pharmacies.
The pain's still there.
But physicians are the major source of these drugs. Dr. Robert Wales is a pain specialist in Encinitas. He prescribes narcotics to his patients all the time.
They provide tremendous assistance for those people in chronic pain. So used correctly, they're wonderful. So it's hard to put a judgment call on the narcotic themselves. It's how they're utilized and the people that use them.
Dr. Wales concedes there are people who get the drugs legitimately and then sell them to others.
We actually look for that routinely. We actually routinely check urine samples to see if they have the medicine that we're prescribing in their urine. If they don't have that medicine in their urine, then we have to suspect that it's going somewhere else.
Dr. Wales says in general, physicians need better training on how to prescribe drugs for chronic pain. But he believes the issue is much bigger than that.
I think what we need to understand as a medical profession is more about addiction. Because what we're talking about is not the tip of the iceberg, but only part of a bigger problem. And that is addiction, and it has to do with alcohol, it has to do with other illicit drugs, as well as prescription medication.
The county medical examiner's office sees the end results of addiction every day. But Dr. Lucas points out only a small proportion of people who abuse prescription drugs die.
So whatever number we're seeing here in this office every year, the problem is many times greater than that.